This field, this game, it's a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that was once good and could be again. Oh, people will come, Ray. People will most definitely come. To listen to Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond.
Would you like to learn from those that are taking their lives, their businesses, and their passions to the next level? Best-selling author of Speakeasy and master connector Lou Diamond is here to connect you to some of the most inspiring and amazing people on this planet. Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Hit like a train, I ran out of words, I got nothing to say. Everything hurt.
Welcome everyone to another amazing episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I'm your host, Lou Diamond, and today on Thrive Loud, we have a professional speaker, author, healthcare executive, and founder and owner of two small businesses supporting organizations and individuals in healthcare. He is the author of A Perfect Tragedy, a memoir that takes a raw look at how one of the deadliest diseases of our time brought him to his knees, and how the tragedies that came with addiction brought him to a purpose-filled life. He's an energetic guy. He's also a fun speaker I'm going to get to hang out with this week, which is kind of cool. I'm recording just ahead of a big conference in July down in Florida, in Orlando, but he's coming to us from Minnesota. Thrive Loud listeners, I bring you Jason Lennox. Jason, welcome to Thrive Loud.
Hey Lou, great to be with you.
We're going to give a quick shout out to my very good friend and former Thrive Loud guest, Jean Stafford, who is now in North Carolina, but was previously in New York, and that's where I got to hang out with her. And she spoke so highly of you and connected us. And I heard your story, and it was like, oh, we got to share it with everybody else. Here's what I want to do, Jason. I want to do like a little bit of a rewind. I don't want to go all the way back to the womb, but I kind of want to give the listeners an understanding of what your story is about so that they can understand how the thing you're doing now became your gig.
Yeah, it starts way back, and like you said, we won't go back to the womb, but as a young child, I just had an upbringing that came with some challenges, and eventually I found myself experimenting with drugs and alcohol and went down a really, really bad path. I came from a family that alcoholism and drugs were very prevalent, and that ended up finding me. I actually lost my father when I was 17. He was 39 when he died from cirrhosis of the liver, so it was very much in my family. His dad had cirrhosis of the liver as well, and just an unfortunate sequence of events found me in the same position and in and out of institutions. I was homeless as early as high school, and really just couldn't find a purpose and didn't understand what this life was about and why I was here. In fact, there were many days from, as early as 8 years old until I was 24 when I finally found some help that I just didn't want to wake up. I didn't want to do this thing called life anymore. And it was a lot of pain, a lot of suffering. I dealt with a lot of loss, and it's all outlined, in my memoir. One of the reasons I wanted to get that out there so I don't have to take up 30 minutes of your episode telling the story, but I went down that path and I didn't understand why I did what I did and what was wrong with me. And, eventually, thankfully, I landed in a treatment program, got the help I needed. Again, I was 24. And so I just started to learn all the adult things at that age, got my first vehicle, my first phone, my first apartment on my own, and got back into school and, knew that I wanted to stay in the space of recovery and help other people. That's precisely what kept me around long enough to find my own solution, was that I watched other people who, had gone through experiences like I had and found a different way to live. So that's the 2-minute version of kind of where I landed and what really started to drive some of the passion inside me.
Jason, first of all, thank you for sharing that with me and with the listeners here. And I want to know, in that time, what who helped you, or what forces led you on a path to recovery? Did you know, because obviously that can go one of two ways. It could just go to the end and goes away, or there could be a chance to get healthy and redeem you. What helped you get back on that path?
Well, I can't take a whole lot of credit for that. Actually, for the better part of my adult life until I was 24, 18 to 24, I told you I lost my dad. I was 17, he was 39, and he drank so much alcohol in such a short time that it just ate his liver away. And I was convinced I was on that path as well. And like I said, I welcome that. And so I didn't think, because I did really well in school as a young child. I was very smart, did well academically. I was very good at sports. I could do most of the things that I set out to do very well. And I couldn't figure out how to do this, Lou. I just kept falling down. And every time I got in trouble and I went to jail and I lost a family member and I had a child and I couldn't stay there for him, and all these things kept, eating me away inside. And I could muster up all the energy I wanted, and I continued to go down that path. So it was actually, I would say the primary driver was the pain that I felt as I sat in a jail cell for the last time at 24. I'd been on the run. I was in some real trouble. I'd been on the run for about a year, and I didn't know what treatment was going to be, but I knew that I couldn't keep experiencing the pain that I was in then, because I had no way out. I was locked in this little cell and stuck with all the consequences. And so that led me to say, I'll talk to this person who I know can help me, because my family had done an intervention a year and a half prior. And I called my mom and said, let's talk to this woman, bring her in, I'll talk. And they got me into treatment. And, I'd say the biggest factor early on for me was going to these treatment programs and finding people who were just trying to see that I got better. All they wanted was for me to have a better chance at a better life. And they didn't have any ulterior motives. They shared grace, they shared love. And I don't know that I had experienced that in my life up until then, partly because I wasn't capable, and partly because of the way that I came up. But as I experienced that, I started to really find a sense of gratitude and appreciation. And then again, I just got around people who did this thing before me, and they said, I've been there, I've done this. Here's a way out, right? They spoon fed it to me. So it really was the pain that drove me to be willing to listen.
Jason, it's one thing to have to recover and first take care of yourself. And then it's another thing to build on that and help take care of others, or help be a guide and somebody with a purpose-filled life for that. How long after your own recovery did you start to say, I want to help others do this and be able to help them with your message, with the businesses you've created? How have you been able to do that? How long did it take till you got to that point?
I was 9 months after I went to treatment, and I had a mentor, and he said, you really can help a lot of people. And I thought I needed a little time. I needed to work on myself and all the things that we sometimes hear. And he said, you've got a solution. You figured this thing out. Now your only job is to go out and help as many people as you can. I mean, those words they'll never leave me. And when I found myself in the treatment industry in 2015, after I was just about to finish school, and I took a job working direct care to, getting people to groups and appointments and just getting them out of bed, I just found so much passion in being able to connect with somebody who was just like me. And, it then I knew was my passion and my home to stay in this space. And I started speaking very early in my recovery. We do this in the rooms of recovery all the time. It's, volunteer work, and we share our stories. But when I spoke to my old high school, actually the entire district of staff, that, there were a couple different groups, people who tried to do everything they could for me as teachers then, and then my own classmates who became teachers. And when I watched that room kind of melt with, the misunderstanding was gone, and just the connection and the emotion, I walked out of there knowing that speaking to as many people as often as I can was my life's purpose.
Your message and what you want to deliver. I know not everyone has a story like yours, but everyone has a story and a path and how they could help others when they speak. I find that speakers are basically these vehicles to help inspire people to move forward. If I go in and I go hear Jason speak and I obviously hear a story, what do I take away from it? What's the lesson that I learned the most? What's the thing that's the big aha moment from Jason Lennox?
There's a personal side to my story, which is, recovery. And that's why I love your show, Lou, is just we get to talk about the humanity and the person-centered approach that we have and how we connect with other people. And then there's the business side. I got into, revenue cycle management and have served as a leader in that space. And that's really about working with insurance companies, making sure that contracts are in place. Claims processing is going well, that we're collecting money. And as I got into that side, I realized on the personal side, I could work with people and impact them on a one-to-one level. But when I got into this revenue cycle and the business side of my life, I realized very quickly that the impact could be so much greater. And so when I share, I love to bring personal recovery to business revenue cycle and just creating results, because they so often get separated and people think that, well, you help people, or if you're focused on revenue, that's business. But the more revenue that I've been able to save and create and generate and optimize, it impacts so many people. And so taking those statistics, bringing them to my speeches and saying, look, I've helped companies flip $1 million of their accounts receivable, what they're owed through insurance companies, and turn that into cash in the bank. And that might sound business related, but that's 150 lives that get treated for substance use disorder. And then that's just one small example, right? Mm-hmm. So that's really what I do, is bring business leaders to the personal side and understand what that impact is through my own personal stories, and also bring the helpers to the table and say, hey, money isn't a bad thing. In fact, money is going to allow you to do your job and create better outcomes and results and make your lives easier.
Amazing. And I love where that direction goes. I also have a question, and that is, unfortunately, this isn't a perfect world we're in, right? You'd figure, you could help all these different people, but the problem keeps happening, right? There's still people, there's still alcoholism, there's still drug abuse, drug addiction. There's so many problems that we're always fed with. And a lot of times we're trying to help a lot of the people who are facing the problem. And in other instances, we're trying to figure out ways to solve it at a bigger level. Has your involvement in your message tried to almost be preventative as opposed to curative in the way that you can try and get to help other people out or help other things out? Do you see that angle as well?
I like to speak, and I've been fortunate to speak at my high school and kind of get into that space and show people, hey, this is what life could be like. I've spent most of my time on the treatment side and then recovery after treatment, because unfortunately, like you said, these problems aren't going away, and really most people are not going to realize that this is a problem. I mean, for me, for example, if by the time I got to a place where I couldn't say no to this and it had a hold on me, I would have never realized when that moment was happening, because I was still having a lot of fun. I was a young kid. I was doing what I thought all the kids did, which is go out and hang out on the weekends and party. And, so I never could have seen that coming. There's a lot of work to do on the prevention side. There's so much work to do, and there's so much money lost and so many lives lost on the treatment side. That's where I've spent most of my time, and now really getting into policy work and legislation and understanding how we can affect change there. But the prevention side is becoming a much bigger thing, especially in Minnesota. We just passed a bill with a lot of funding for prevention.
Awesome. I love asking guests this question on this show. I want to see where this goes here. This turnaround that you've had is a perfect victory versus a perfect tragedy. And it's great to see you here, and it's great to have you here, and it's great that you're helping so many other people, which means pretty much on most days, either you're thriving or you're helping others to thrive, which is why you're on the show here today, Jason. We all have those days, no one knows this better than you, when we're not quite kicking on all cylinders and we're a little off our game. Today, when you're off your game, what practice do you seek, or maybe which individual do you seek out to get yourself back on that thriving track?
Yeah, that's a great question. I love it. I think the first thing that comes to mind for me is gratitude. Every morning, the first thing I do, one of the very first exercises I do is journal, and part of that journaling is several things that I'm grateful for. And even if I'm not in the moment feeling that practice, at least brings me back to a place where I can write the words, I can look at them, and I can start to think. And the other thing that really I lean on a lot is just going down memory lane, not in a bad way, but in a good way. So you said a perfect victory, and the book is a perfect tragedy, which we don't have time for the explanation there. But that's really my grandma passing was for me what brought that title. And when I think of people like her, who I get to just honor in this life. And I was just with one of my best friends who was killed tragically right after high school, stopped at his grave yesterday. And when I just get in these spaces and I can realize how precious life is, it kind of eliminates room for all the negative and the things that we just tend to think as human beings. And so gratitude and really honoring the people that are in my life, the people that are no longer here, those two things usually center me back to at least a place where I'm not spiraling.
Let's do the admin part of the show, Jason. Share with the listeners all the places people can find you, websites, URLs, social handles, whatever it might be. We will put it in the show notes. Gets more engagement when they hear it from you.
Yeah. My website's the best place to find all my information, www.jasonlennox.com. Like you said, that'll be in the notes, Lennox. There's all my social handles, a copy of my book. It's on Amazon. It was a bestseller. It was fabulous. Just released that in December. And LinkedIn, Twitter, and all the major social platforms. But everything's there at a centralized location on my website, jasonlennox.com.
We got it. It's awesome. I'm excited because I got Fun Street here with you, Jason, and I'm glad we get to have this happy conversation here today. All right, can you share with the listeners what you shared with me as one of your all-time favorite movies? Because this one threw me for a loop.
Yeah, it might have thrown me for a loop when I spit it out too, but I said Armageddon.
I was trying to see if there was a deeper meaning there or something, but aside from the potential damage of the world coming to us from some meteor, why does that movie connect so much with you?
Well, here's a disclaimer. I don't watch a ton of movies. I do a lot more reading than I do watching these days. So this is, the movie's a few decades old. But I think two things came to mind when I was thinking of an answer to this question. Armageddon, you take this group of everyday people who have no experience. They don't know what they're doing. They shouldn't be in this position, really. And the guy says, yeah, I'll go to space and save the world, but I'm bringing my own people. And so you take these everyday people, throw them on a rocket and send them up to do this job to save the world. I just think that's amazing. And then, just the change in heart that you see in Bruce Willis, the way he was, shooting a shotgun at the future son-in-law at one point and ends up, trading places with him at the last second when it's time to sacrifice somebody. So just a huge change of heart and, the everyday hero story. I just love that. So
we're going to do the speed round here. Jason, this is how this works. I'm just going to ask you something. First thing that comes to your mind. These are things that lift you up, motivate you, make you feel good. Basically, they make you thrive. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Of late, a song that maybe you've been listening to or one that pumps you up.
Oh, I'm going to see Ed Sheeran this summer. He's maybe my favorite male vocalist, and he just came out with a song that I saw on the Country Music Association Awards. One of the awards shows with Luke Combs. They did it live. It's called Life Goes On. He wrote that for a friend of his that passed away, and I connect with Ed's music so much, but I love Luke Combs too, and the way that they blend together and talk about just picking it up and putting one foot in front of the other.
I love that tune. I did hear that, and I saw that performance. It was pretty awesome. Okay, a favorite food that is not a dessert. Anyone
who knows me, and now anyone who's listening to this is going to know that oatmeal takes the cake every time. I'm on a mission to find some of the greatest oatmeal in the world.
So what is in the Jason Lennox oatmeal? What do we get? What do we have in the oatmeal? Is it just plain oatmeal with a little brown sugar or something, or what do you got in there?
No, I don't like the brown sugar. Okay. Oatmeal, it's got to have bananas. It's got to have some sort of nuts. It's got to have peanut butter. And ideally, there's some sort of coconut or honey, some sweetener in there that that adds a little bit. Granola. I almost forgot about granola. Gotta have the granola.
Now, I'm going to ask this next question. What's your favorite dessert?
Ice cream. All day.
Any flavor of your liking?
I'm a big peanut butter chocolate person. So anything with Reese's, chocolate peanut butter, cookie dough. I mean, just throw it all. After about 4 or 5 toppings, it doesn't really taste as good. But peanut butter, cookie dough, chocolate. Give me those 3.
An activity you wish you did more of?
An activity I wish I did more of. Reading. I mean, I read for half hour every day, but I read about people who read for 4 hours a day, and it just changes their lives.
An activity you wish you did less of?
Sit in front of my screen, which is precisely why speaking is a beautiful path for me. It gets me out of the corporate world and away from a screen for a few more hours in the day.
A new activity to you that you recently tried that you want to tell everybody else to try because you liked it so much?
A new activity. Oh, this is a good one. I've started playing music again. So I don't know if that's new, but I play the guitar, strumming the guitar. I just was trying to learn the Ed Sheeran song, actually.
That's awesome.
And I want to do more of that. That probably would fit the first question, too.
Spectacular. If I could snap my fingers and Jason Lennox could be anywhere in the world, where is he?
At the cabin up north with my family of 50. We do that every year, Labor Day weekend. And I could do it all year long, seeing all the kids. And it's a tradition we had when my grandpa was younger and he passed away. And so I picked up the tradition, and we get us all up there for a week.
Jason Lennox, Purpose-Filled Life. Hey, thanks so much for coming on the program. Great to connect with you. I'm looking forward to seeing you this week. And keep moving onward and upward, man. You're really an inspiration, and all of us needs to pay a little more attention to all the things that you're helping people pay attention to.
Yeah, thanks, Lou. We'll see you on Friday.
You got it. To all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep moving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
Tell me how my life goes on with you gone. I suppose I'll sink like a stone if you leave me now. Oh, the storms will roll, easy come, hard go. Then life goes on, easy come, hard go. Then life goes on.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Check us out on the web at thriveloud.com and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrive Loud. And check us out on the Good Pods app at Thrive Loud, where you can follow, listen, and connect directly to Lou and all of the Thrive Loud episodes. Thanks for listening.